Hi there. If some of you guys are going through a difficult time, I just wanted to send a little word of encouragement tonight. I know sometimes when we go through difficulties and struggles and chronic issues, whether that's chronic pain, chronic anxiety, chronic depression, chronic illness, there's a lot of different things that we can each go through. And when we're going through these different physical or emotional, mental states, it is easy to get caught up in why is this happening to me? Who is going to help me to be able to get through this? And always looking for someone that can save us. For me, that was something in the way that I lived most of my life. I always wanted someone to love me so much or help me through the difficult times so much. And I always kind of looked outside of myself for that to take place. And there was wonderful people along the way that were very impactful in my life and in helping me to feel some value for who I was. And, but when it really boiled down to it, I was always looking for that one person that would love me so much that I would be finally freed. And then 10 years when all my chronic issues began, 10 years ago, is when things began to go on a downslide for me. And I had found out that an old whiplash that had flared up, that eventually turned into a lot of chronic other issues because of the pain. And I found out that overstoring emotions in my body and holding stuff in all my life only added to what was already going on with the physical pain. And my brain got to the point where it just turned everything on high alert all the time. And so the past 3 years, I had to come to a very hard conclusion after seeing over 13 different physical therapists. One of them finally told me, you need to change or nothing is going to change. And it was one of the hardest things that I had to learn in my life. She said I had to change the way I thought, the way I spoke, the way I analyzed everything going on in my body. I held so many emotions in. Every time someone hurt me, I would hold it. I'm always looking at how they hurt me. And all of this stuff, it was always brought inward and stuffed inside of me. And I didn't always have someone to talk to about it. And the people that hurt me, I would always, not only would I hold it in, but depending who it was, I expected them to read my mind, to know that they hurt me or how they're treating me. And if they didn't, then I would in turn, kind of punish them back by withholding emotions from them or withholding love. Or, it's kind of like that roundabout way of punishing someone without literally doing it, withholding love until that person maybe apologized to me or made it right or different things. All of that storing of emotion or not talking about stuff when it needed to be talked about, it all got stored into my body. And over the years, and with that chronic whiplash that I had, all of that combined in the brain and in the nervous system. Brain cannot tell the difference, I've said this many times before, between chronic physical pain and emotional pain or mental pain. It's all the same to the brain. So it can't tell the difference. Pain is pain. And so when we've had too much of one or the other or combination of both, sometimes the brain is like in high alert, and all it wants to do is protect us. So it constantly turns on pain or other physical sensations like anxiety, different things to cause us to withdraw from what it deems to be a dangerous or an unsafe situation. So it came to this point in my life where, after seeing so many physical therapists, and in the end, physical therapy was making me have more pain, and everything was being considered a threat. And I had this physical therapist that told me that I had to be the one who changed. So whether it was, different loved ones in my life, before I would internalize everything and then want them to change first. You change, I'll change. You might not quite say it, but you are giving that impression, or you think it. They've hurt me so much, or I feel hurt so much. Not necessarily that they did it intentionally. Sometimes it could be, other times it's not. Sometimes it's the way we read into things. It could be how we're making them feel, and they shut off towards us, and then we shut off towards them thinking that they're shut off towards us, and the loop goes on and on. Or there'd be people that I just, I would want to change so bad, but I wanted it almost to be done for me, in a sense. You love me so much that it heals me. Or I have this many friends, and their friendship heals me. Friends that won't leave me because I have a change of perspective or life, or maybe if I'm too hyper, or I'm too detailed, or something like that. Different things growing up throughout my life. When I was really young, I was extremely hyper. I can still be hyper, as some of you know. But there was a lot of things that I suppressed in myself growing up. And a lot of that pain got stuffed from a very young age. And it could have turned into some much deeper chronic issues over time. Luckily, I was able to stay on top of a good amount of them. But they still caught up with me as I got older, and they were visible in my young life as well. I won't get into all the details in this video, but all of that to say, we can always look on the outside for everyone to change us, to help us, to be that source that gets us through. And it wasn't until that physical therapist, her name was Pamela Stevenson, and she was very direct with me. Just give me 1 second here. She was very direct with me. And she said, if you don't change, nothing's going to change. And she actually had to let me go because I was analyzing everything she said. I was analyzing all my chronic pain, every area of my body, trying to figure out what was wrong that she's not seeing that needs to be fixed. There's something wrong with my neck. There's something wrong with my back. There's something wrong with this, my wrists, my elbows, my shoulders. I had pain everywhere. And I kept wanting to attribute it to a physical injury of some part that all the other 12 physical therapists did not see. And she was trying to tell me there is nothing really wrong. Yes, I needed certain physical adjustments from time to time because of the old whiplash injury, just to keep things in check and stuff. But there was nothing that was attributing the type of pain that I was feeling to an injury anymore. It was an oversensitized nervous system and brain. And she said, you need to change your daily routines, your habits, your ways of thinking, your this, your that, in order to rewire your nervous system. And so the last 3 years have been just that. And it has been quite the road. And one of the things that, as I'm trying to bring to the point too in this video, one of the number one things that I had to come to terms with in my life is that the only one that can help me, change me, heal me, is me. Now, I am not saying we do not need community and loved ones. We do. That's always going to be a part of our healing journey and our process that helps us. But when we think that it's going to be coming from them, that is when we can get trapped, because we're always expecting it outside of us. And that's what I did all my life. All my life. And it wasn't until my late 40s that I finally said, you know what? Okay, this is it. I've got to change. And so I've had to do a lot of different things. There's cognitive therapy, there's mindfulness, meditation, visualization. Visualization is like seeing things as if they're actually happening, but they're not really. So it could be, I don't know, feeling at peace. And maybe I don't feel at peace. But visualizing in my mind what it would feel like to be at peace. To truly be at peace, what would that feel like? And then feeling the emotion, not just thinking about being at peace, but feeling it. What would that feel like? Visualization is very powerful to the brain. So just as emotional, mental, and physical pain is all pain to the brain, it can't tell the difference. Visualization is very important too, and that's where our thoughts come into play. Our thoughts come into play because when we think things, say we're going over and over something, how somebody hurt us. This one person that keeps hurting us, we go over and over it. Every time we go over and over that in our brain thinks it's happening again and again and again and again. So what does it do? It turns on the fight and the flight, the anxiety. It wants you to withdraw, and so it puts in the cortisol and all of those chemicals into your body that is supposed to make you run for your life and get away from a dangerous situation. It starts pumping those chemicals into your body. We're not supposed to get those chemicals all the time. So when our brain is constantly pumping it into our blood system, and we're not actually in any type of danger, that's where the chronic health conditions begin. So we have got to get out of that fight and flight type of syndrome, okay? So visualization, again, it can be replicated or understood by when you're watching a movie. And it could be a horror movie, it could be a funny movie, it could be, someone in danger and all of a sudden their life gets saved and you have this thrill come over you and you feel those emotions as if you are right there. You get scared in a horror movie, even though you know it's not real. And you feel elated when something wonderful or beautiful happens, and it's not happening to you, it's happening to them. Or it's on TV and it's not really happening at all. But your brain doesn't know that. So visualization is a very important tool to help us on our journey to healing. Teaching our brain, teaching our body, teaching our nervous system to calm down. I'm okay. What does it feel like to be okay? And begin feeling those emotions. You can get to the point where you start feeling the good feelings of what it's like to be at peace, to feel joy, to feel contentment, to feel healed, to feel whole, to feel loved. The brain doesn't know the difference. And it will start to release those good chemicals into your blood that helps to heal. Even in the scriptures, there's different holy books and different things that say different things, but many of you know this one. and it's one that I heard many times growing up, is that joy is like a medicine. It is like medicine. When we change our state, our brain puts in healing chemicals into our body. And that's what we need. So we've got to find ways that if other people aren't able to bring us to that healed state, which other people aren't responsible for that. They can encourage us along our journey, and they can be there from time to time, but ultimately the person that we're left alone with 24/7 is right here. I am the one that can change me. You can't change me. You can help encourage me from time to time, and that really helps. I will tell you that. But when it comes down to it, I know that I'm the only one that can truly bring healing into my own life. There can be physical therapists and people that know how to release negative energy and spiritual gurus, and you can have all of these wonderful people that will help liberate you. You can have those moments, yes, definitely. But if you choose to allow all that negativity back in, every time something goes wrong or someone hurts you or anything like that.
Welcome, D1.
I lost my train of thought because my music playing in the background decided to play an ad, and I went to go shut that off, and I kind of lost my train of thought. But I'm just going to come back onto the similar topic, whether I pick up right where I was or not. But we can't have other people be the ones that are the source of our healing. They can't be on the top of a ladder or pedestal, or, okay, they are the ones that's going to help me, or enough things in my life have to go right in order for me to feel whole. I have been going through this journey now for so long, and I'm going to tell you, some days I'm like, is this going to ever get easier? Even though I feel the best that I've ever done, like mentally and emotionally, like in that cleared space, when the physical sensations come up in my body, the fight and flight, it could be a sitting position that I take. It could be someone talking about, too much trauma going on maybe in their own lives, or it could be me talking about mine too much, or it could be doing a physical exercise too much. It could be, sometimes it's the simplest and even the stupidest little things, and my body turns on sensations, and I'm like, it's not that big of a deal. Why am I feeling this? I could be having pain. If I go on my phone too long, and if I tap on my phone too long, I can get pain in my hands, and it can run up my arm and into my neck and down my back. Like, there's these different things but I have to change that. And so what I've had to do is I've had to come to a clear point in my life where I said, you know what? I can't expect anyone else to do this for me. I'm going to get online and I'm going to do active research to find out how I can change this. How can I change this for me? How can I make my home more peaceful? Or how can I have better relationships? Am I going to wait for everyone else to change? Or do I first change me? And then hopefully, because people have seen the change in me and how I may talk to them when I'm hurt or frustrated, maybe their behavior is going to change. And you know what? That's some of the things that I've been activating in my own life these last few years. A lot of stress, a lot of pain, a lot of hurt. And every time someone would talk to me in a certain tone and wouldn't give me a certain amount of attention, I'd get hurt, defensive, hold it in, point the finger. And then after a while, it's like, you know what, Michelle, slow down. You can't change them. Guilting them doesn't help them. Pointing the finger at them doesn't help them change. And it just makes you more upset. But what I can do and what I can't do is something that I had to pay attention to. I can't change you. Only you can change you. You can't change me. Only I can change me. Only I can change me. So when all of those things that come and you find yourself getting caught up in that loop, oh, I wish they would stop doing this to me. I wish they would stop. I wish they'd be more sensitive. I've had to catch myself multiple times, even if it's in my own home or outside of my own home. I catch myself getting defensive, getting hurt, getting reactive. Okay, Michelle, change it. You are loved. You are loved. You are loved. Just having a bad day, just like you have a bad day sometimes. Sometimes I say things when I'm stressed or upset or, something's not going my way. Does it mean that it's always personal? No. Sometimes we don't realize how we're making other people feel. All we think about is how they make us feel. And so I've had to take many deep breaths these past few years and realize how I have made certain people feel, whether it's in my family or outside of my family. Okay, I can see how they could react towards this. Most of my life, even in my own family life, it's like I didn't realize how stressful I was. Over detailed. This has to be this way, this way, this way. You've got to be extra sensitive to me this way. You've got to do this, this, and this. And I've had, a lot of things that I've made it difficult for people, even in my own family or in my relationships, my friendships, being a certain way. Not realizing how that could have made them feel, even though they're trying to tell me and I'm not getting it because I have to get my feelings out. I need to be validated. Well, what about them? So as I've begun to really actively change myself these past few years, I have been noticing even my family members and other people are changing towards me because I'm changing first. It wasn't something that I noticed in weeks or even months. It's taken a while sometimes because we don't even realize sometimes we internalize everything so much towards ourselves and how we're getting hurt. We don't even realize how our mood swings and our pain and our hurt also bother them. But we know it when they do it to us, but we don't realize it when we do it to them. So again, we reroute. What can I do to change me? What can I do to change me? Sometimes even now, just dealing with different chronic issues, I'm like, what is this? And a new thing that has started to take place in my body and in my nervous system and stuff, the last since about mid-November, I have these different things that start clicking or happening. I have these elated, beautiful moments that change, and then I have these other things because there's a lot of trauma stuff that has been coming up in my system, and I'm like, really? When is this going to, get through? But I have to keep doing the daily routines, and I see them. I see these things happening in my life, the things that I've got to change and everything like that. But I'm having an issue with this phone again here. I thought I picked a YouTube video that didn't have ads, but I picked the wrong one. I lost my train of thought again. That's another thing I've been dealing with, is a memory issue. The last few months, okay, since mid-November. Right, so I've been dealing with different trauma things coming up in my system, like weird things. I'll give you an example. Let's even rewind back to last spring. I was told that I had been grinding my teeth at night by the dentist, and that I needed to be assessed for a bite plate. So in July, I go to get assessed for a bite plate, and then that's all good. I get fitted, and then I come back September to get it fitted into my mouth, make sure there's no final touches that need to be, soldered off, so to speak, to fit me perfectly. And up until that point, I never had one sign or symptom that I grinded my teeth at night. But the night before I went in to get my bite plate fitted, all of a sudden the sensations in my jaw started, and I could feel the sensations going down into my jaw for wanting to grind. It was almost like a little bit of electrical, a little bit of pain. I don't know how to explain it. I'm like, I just took it as coincidence. Oh, well, darn good thing they caught it early enough, because now the signs are, happening, and that must mean that, obviously I was doing it, and good timing, because I'm starting to feel it, and it must be escalating, and it's all happening. Good coincidence. I thought it was. Then that day I go in and get my teeth fitted for the bite plate, and while I'm in there, the dentist tells me that I've got to stop biting my nails because I'm ruining my front teeth. And he showed me with the model that he did for my bite plate how my teeth are literally thinning out, and they will have to be fixed if I don't stop biting my nails. And I'm like, oh, bummer, really? I gotta stop biting my nails. Been doing that just like forever. I don't know. This is gonna be really hard. They're like, well, you're still young. I'm like, I'm 50. And they're like, you're still young. You still have time to quit. So, that's what it was. And I just, a bit of stress that I got to stop this nagging habit that's hard. I go home that night, and all the teeth in my mouth ache. And they ached for a solid month thereafter, simply by the dentist telling me that I was ruining my teeth because of biting my nails. And then I realized that the same with the bite plate. I never felt those sensations. Yes, I was grinding at night, but that's all it was. But it wasn't until I went to go get fitted for the bite plate that the subconscious part of my brain decided to turn on, oh, there's an issue with the grinding. Oh, and so it turned on those symptoms. You've heard about people with amputated arms, that they still have pain in an arm they do not have. That's because the brain turns that stuff on. It's not an arm. It's not my jaw. It's the brain. And so these are different things that my body has been going through. Another one is when my mid-back starts to flare up, or my mid-back and my neck are often connected, and sometimes it affects my lower back as well. But my mid-back is the biggest area, and my neck is, but I've come to realize this past number of months that my mid-back is where the biggest amount of trauma has been stored in my body. I learned that through a physical therapist. I won't get into the details. But it's only been since mid-November that when that area gets flared up, not every single time, but a good amount of the times, I start having bad dreams. Dreams where I wake up crying. There's different things that are coming up in my system. And I'm like, I haven't had bad dreams in like so long. And then all of a sudden, with these different trauma type of things that are coming up in my system, and I've only mentioned a couple, this is a new one. And I'm like, what is this? Like, I'm growing, and every time I grow to a certain level, a new physical thing turns on. And I'm like, what? What is with this? But do I give up? And say, oh, I'm just done. I'm just done. No, I don't give up. Because if I give up, do you think that's going to help matters? No. We cannot give up on our health. In this day and age, I know this is a long video, but in this day and age, with all of the things going on, there is a lot of anxiety going on. There's people that I never thought would struggle with it. They seem like they've really got their life together. And I'm like, holy cow, they're going through this too. And sometimes I can just see the signs. It could be something like, I'm not going to get into that, but it's just a lot of people are going through it. And a lot of that is because we've disconnected to our original ways of evolution and being connected to the earth, to community, to one another. We've gotten hooked on these things as our way of communicating, as our way of socializing, as our way of talking to one another, instead of just picking up the phone, going to visit each other. I had a friend last month, bless her heart, she texts me outside my door almost and says, I think I'm in front of your house. Wanted to know if I could come to visit. I didn't get her a text for an hour later. I'm like, you were there and you didn't come to my door. This texting thing is going to go, Anyways, all of that to say, and sometimes I do these talks not only just to help or to encourage some of you guys, but you know what? Sometimes it helps me too. One of the things that I want to do to help others is to try to be an encouragement. Instead of wanting everyone to help me, how can I try to help? How can I try to be an encouragement to someone else who may be going through a rough time? Because as we help one another and we show little kindnesses and love, it helps brighten our day. I know some of you will sometimes make a comment on one of my posts and say, okay, this has really helped me. Other ones are probably thinking, oh my gosh, here she goes again, one of her big long rambles. I will not be listening to that. And that's okay. But even if it's only one person that really gets encouraged by this video and it helps give them a little bit of clarity and strength to push forward, then it's worth it. But at the same time, it's also a way of me expressing and feeling through some things in my own life that I need to talk about. And sometimes I might not always, sometimes I might need to talk. And sometimes I don't have that. And sometimes I'll just talk to myself. Say, you're okay, Michelle. We're going to get through this. Sometimes I will lay down and I will just give myself a head massage. And I'm like, we're okay. We're loved. Everything's okay. Relax. Relax. And so even though I might not have someone here to do it for me, I can do it for myself. And so can you. Find ways to love up on yourself. Find ways that encourage you. Stand in front of the mirror. Tell yourself that you love them. I love you. I love you, Michelle. You're okay. Yes, I can be detailed sometimes. Yes, I can be through the roof hyper sometimes. And yes, sometimes I can send long text messages because I record on my phone and then I hit send too quick because I don't want to get caught up in texting. Or sometimes my mind is in overdrive and I'm thinking too much. And it's like, I am doing this again here. I'm thinking too much. And I'll send a text before I think it through. Should I have sent that? No. If I would have taken 2 minutes to reread that text message first, I wouldn't have sent it. But sometimes I get anxious and I send it before, so I'm working through a lot of my own issues at the same time. And I know all of us are working through issues, and we've got to be patient with ourselves. We catch ourselves when we go, oops, too much detail. Oops, I was too hyper. Oops, I'm all over the place. I forgot another name again. It's okay. We're going through our own things, and we've got to take the self-care of ourselves and take care of ourselves. Take care of yourself. Do what you got to do to find your healing. There's awesome kinds of YouTube channels online that you can find, but you have to Be diligent, and you've got to look for them. And the more you look for them, the more YouTube will suggest more of the same topics. And soon enough, you will find people that are right up your right up your alley. And that will be a source of strength and encouragement, that are professionally trained in certain areas that you need. Don't get caught up in a whirlwind of ones that are always talking about the trauma loop and, oh, you got to process. Sometimes we have to process through our trauma. That is part of healing, and that is part of what I'm doing. But I've also noticed when I get too caught up in it, what do I got to process? What part of this trauma? What is this? It can also spiral me down. So there's a balance. We've got to process through trauma and acknowledge it at times when it's coming up, feel it. And then we've got to let it go and not allow ourselves to get caught up in this thing. If you're getting caught up in this thing, you need to find a different way to go towards more positivity and rewiring and visualization, cognitive therapy, self-talk, different techniques to change where you're at, to change your state, to change your thoughts. Change your thoughts, change your life. Change your thoughts, you'll change your emotions, you change your words, you change, it goes on. So I've been talking for a long time, nothing new, but I hope this has encouraged some of you guys. I know that it's helped me just to be able to talk to some people tonight. And I just want to share a little bit of love and encouragement, and wishing you guys all peace of mind and clarity, and that you find courage and strength to move forward. Don't isolate yourself, okay? Don't isolate yourself. Get out, socialize, go for coffee with a friend, get together with people, go to a social function, get into some arts and creative things, go for walks, spend time in nature, practice visualization, practice self-talk, listen to inspiring music. Find different things that work for you and start working on yourself, and don't you give up. Don't give up on yourself. You keep pressing through. You can do this. You are beautiful. You are confident. You are stronger than you think and more powerful than you believe. And don't forget that you are the one that can change your destiny. You are the one that can change your life. You are that person. But the choice has to start with you. And the choices aren't always easy. We have to make the decision that we're going to do it no matter what we feel like. Do it before you talk yourself out of it. You feel like staying in bed all day? Count down from 5 as soon as you wake up and get your ass out of bed before you get to 5. If you can actually have 5 seconds, I think is what they said. You count down from 5. Your brain doesn't have time to go into cognitive thinking to talk yourself out of it in that 5 seconds. You do it before that part of the brain is able to kick in. Get up, 5 seconds, you won't be able to talk yourself out of it. Anyways, I hope you guys have a lovely evening and that you have lots of rest and a peaceful sleep. And until next time, if you've gotten through this video, once again, please leave it in the comments. It is encouraging for me to know that this may help certain people, and I understand for the majority of the people will never listen to this whole video, but for those who do, I wish you peace and love, and those who don't as well. But even if you've only listened to a little part and it's helped you, that that makes it worth it. But anyways, peace to you. Take care. Bye-bye.